Hi, fans of high quality entertainment. So I've been doing these tier lists for music for, certain years, and I'm going to continue doing it. But I thought I would change it up for a change and do a tier list ranking for television shows from all throughout my life. And I've picked 70 TV shows. I wouldn't say I'm the biggest fan of television. I think my favorite TV shows are from the 60s and 70s, and then I started to lose interest in watching most TV shows. A lot of situation comedies I was never a big fan of. So apologies, this is probably going to be a long video, but I hope some of you watch it and let me know what's missing from this list. And, there's going to be TV shows that I just never watched for whatever reason, popular TV shows. So these are random, and I'll just start ranking them. Primetime Glick with Martin Short, possibly my favorite comedian, and Molly's too. We both love this. I'm going to put that in A. He's just almost always hilarious, whoever he's interviewing as this character, Jiminy Glick. And then SCTV, that's S tier. John Candy, of course, Martin Short later on, Eugene Levy, Catherine O'Hara, so many more great comedians. The Outer Limits, I remember watching it as a kid, and it freaked me out. And I'm going to put that in A. I've seen other episodes, later in my life, and they're really good. Breaking Bad, that's S tier. Yep, I watched the whole series, and it kind of started off, I usually am not a fan of these kind of series, but I started watching it, and it might have taken a show or two, but I got right into it. Excellent. Unsolved Mysteries was always a fun watch. I used to watch that in the 80s and 90s. Yeah, Family Ties with Michael J. Fox. Michael J. Fox, of course. Totally respect him as an actor. Loved him in Back to the Future. But that show, a lot of these situation comedies I just wasn't a fan of. Although, in the 60s, Gomer Pyle was always hilarious. I'm going to put that just before Jiminy Glick. Columbo, that was excellent. I loved it when he would be leaving, the person that usually committed the crime, and then he turns around with just one more question. That's got to be A. Right there. All in the Family. I love the early seasons, and then later on it just got a little too sweet and corny. So I'll still put that in A because it was kind of groundbreaking. And like I said, the first few seasons were hilarious. Happy Days, same thing. I love the early seasons, and then, like when Chachi came aboard, I hated all that. And even Fonzie. Fonzie got to be annoying in later seasons, but the first, I don't know, maybe the first 2 or 3 seasons were excellent. I'll put that in B. I Love Lucy, of course, is a classic. I'll put that right there. Roger Ramjet, one of the few, well, there's a handful, I guess, but one of the few cartoons that was for adults, not just, it was for children, but it was also for adults with some of the humor. I'm going to put that in B. Very funny. Ahead of Happy Days. In Living Color, Jim Carrey was in that show. I didn't watch it a lot, but anytime I did, I thought it was always really funny. I need to put that in A. I'll put it just before Columbo. M.A.S.H, once again, for a lot of these TV shows, the early seasons are my favorites. And one of my favorite characters was Frank. Yeah, when Winchester came on the show, he was good, but I just didn't like the show as much. But I'm still going to put it in A, ahead of Lucy. Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. It's just a great show for children, very relaxing, I'll put it at the end of A. Monty Python's Flying Circus. I won't put it in S tier. There were some skits that weren't as funny as others, but overall, it was hilarious. I'll put it ahead of All in the Family. Friends, I would watch once in a while. Just not one of my favorites, but still not a bad show. I'll put it before Happy Days. Yeah, The Golden Girls, I never liked. Leave It to Beaver, a classic from the 60s. That's S tier. I'm going to put it ahead of Breaking Bad. Roseanne. Not a fan of Roseanne Barr, but back in the day, I admit, sometimes I was laughing. I'll put it in B. Ahead of Friends. Johnny Quest, that was a cartoon in the 60s, which I watched off and on. I don't know, there was something that bugged me about it. I'm going to put it in C. Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In. Ringo Starr was on that at one point. It's of its day, but it was sometimes pretty funny. I'll put it in B. Right at the start of B. South Park. I watched the one movie they made. I thought it was hilarious. I didn't watch the TV show that much, but whenever I saw clips, I usually thought they were funny. I'll put it in B. Just before Happy Days. Sex and the City, D. Star Trek, the original series. I don't know. Let's put that in S tier. Just great memories of watching that through the years. Okay, some of these are hard to figure out. I have to go and look at the bigger picture of them. So that's Lost. I started watching that, and I think and I enjoyed it, and then it just got so confusing, I gave up on it. I'm going to put it in C, at the end of C. Sanford and Son, that was always funny. I'll put that in A, with a red fox. Just before Living Color, in Living Color. The Office is S tier. Although I just love the seasons with Steve Carell, and then I stopped watching it, but still, it's S tier, and it's, yeah, right there. SCTV is going to be hard to beat. The Brady Bunch, that's a classic. Watched it many, many times. Let's put it just before, I'm going to put it just before Primetime Glick. That is The Sopranos. I had to include it even though I've watched very little of it, but I know I would love it because I love Goodfellas, and I've just heard so many great things about Sopranos. So I'm going to put it in A. but I'll put it at the end of A because I need to watch it. The Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour. Of course, The Who were on that and many other rock acts. Once again, it was of its time, but they were pretty brave with some of their political humor and everything. I'm going to put it in B, just before laughing. The Johnny Carson Show, or The Tonight Show. That'll always be A. I love Johnny Carson. Probably my favorite TV host. And my second favorite would be Conan O'Brien. Put it right there. Gilligan's Island, I watched. I never found it that funny. I'll put it at the start of C. The Monkees, A. Just before Primetime Glick. I know that's kind of hard to tell what it is, but it's Saturday Night Live. I don't watch it anymore, but the early seasons were great with, John Belushi, Dan Aykroyd. I'll put it in B, though, because I'll put it at the start of B. Seinfeld. I've never watched every episode, like when it was on TV. I don't think I ever really watched it much, but any show I've seen is hilarious. It is S tier. Just before The Office. Sesame Street. You gotta love Sesame Street. That's A tier, ahead of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. All right, Survivor. Yes, I used to watch the early seasons of Survivor. I noticed yesterday it's on season 47. It was kind of stupid entertainment, but I enjoyed it at the time. I'll put it in B. Right there. The Mary Tyler Moore Show. That's B. That was a pretty good show for the 70s. Right there. The Simpsons. I found it funny, but I think they should have stopped making The Simpsons about 20 years ago. I'll put it in B. You gotta love Homer Simpson. Ahead of Roger Ramjet, right at the start of before Saturday Night Live. The Twilight Zone, it's comparable to The Outer Limits, so I'll put The Outer Limits just ahead. But they're both excellent TV series. The Wonder Years, I saw that once in a while. It seemed like a good show. I don't know it that well, but the shows I did watch, I thought it was very well done. Right there. Well, I've got Monty Python twice, so maybe I've only got 69 TV shows. The Dick Van Dyke Show, that was always pretty funny in its time. I'll put it right there. Starsky and Hutch, I'll put that in C. It was entertaining. The Munsters, they're S tier. I love the Munsters. Just before Breaking Bad. Roots, it was a TV series. That's S tier. Right at the end of the S tier. Lots of great acting in that. So that's what I've got left. Married with Children. I just never found it that funny. I'm going to put it in D. I'm sorry. The Muppet Show. That's A. I loved Animal, the drummer especially. Just before Gomer Pyle. The Andy Griffith Show, probably my favorite comedy show. That's ahead of SCTV, so it's number one now. I loved Don Knotts as Barney Fife. The whole cast was just so good. Schitt's Creek. I've just seen, 2 or 3 episodes. I just didn't. I thought it was just okay. So that's in C. Hogan's Heroes. The premise is pretty far-fetched, of course. I remember watching it with my dad, and he liked it. I thought it was very funny. I'm going to put it in A. Just before, where am I here? Just before, no, ahead of All in the Family. Beverly Hillbillies. Yeah, it was entertaining, but I never really found it that funny. Like, I would rarely laugh. I'll put it in C. I liked it more than Gilligan's Island. I'll put it at the start of C. My Three Sons. Haven't seen that in years, but I used to watch it and always enjoyed it. I'll put that in B. Right there. How am I doing so far? Let me know. I'm sure you'll let me know. Get Smart is S tier. Ahead of Leave It to Beaver. Oh, another S tier. Fernwood Tonight with Martin Mull and I just lost my list. Oh my gosh. Let's do this again. Yes, I actually clicked off my tier list. I lost everything, so I had to reorder what I had done. So here we go. And I added The Addams Family. It's one show that I noticed was missing. All right. I've already got the Dick Van... yeah, there's a couple I've got twice. I've got the Dick Van Dyke Show. Right there. Okay. Yeah, so I've got the Dick Van Dyke Show and Monty Python. I've just got those twice. So Fernwood Tonight, the most hilarious parody TV, well, one of the funniest TV shows ever with Red Willard and Martin Mull. It's just crazy, crazy funny. That's S tier. I'll put it just before Seinfeld. The Dick Van Dyke Show, that was always good. No, I already did that. Okay, Laverne and Shirley. I liked Lenny and, what was it, Lenny and Squiggy? I think that was their names. I thought they were hilarious. Otherwise, I wasn't a big fan of the show, but I'll put it in B for Lenny and Squiggy. Right there. Three's Company. John Ritter, great actor. And he could be funny, but just that show, and even Don Knotts was on that show, and I didn't even find his character funny. So I'll put it at the start of D. Charlie's Angels, had no interest in. I would see some episodes, but didn't really like it that much. Little House on the Prairie. The other show that's not on here is The Waltons. I don't think it's here. I would put The Waltons in A, but I will also put Little House on the Prairie in A. I thought it was a really well done show. Just consider that along with The Waltons, wherever I place these. Just ahead of Lucy. Welcome Back, Kotter. I never found funny. Put it in D. But it's funnier than Married with... Same going the other way, because we're at the bottom here. So the worst of D is at the front here. So I'll put it right there. Cheers. I don't know. It was all right. I just... Not my kind of comedy. I'll put it just ahead of Schitt's Creek. Mork and Mindy. Robin Williams. Great comedian, but I just never liked the show. I didn't find it funny. I'm going to put it in D. I'm sorry. Right there. Bewitched. I always loved watching Bewitched. I'm going to put that in A. Right about there. Right before Lucy. The Bugs Bunny Roadrunner hour was always very entertaining. Almost S tier. I'll put it in A. Just before The Tonight Show. The Addams Family. I would say I like the Munsters a little better, but they're both great shows. Right there. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Hated it. That's how much I disliked it. The Jeffersons. That was a very funny show. I'm going to put it in B. I loved George. I'll put it right ahead of the Dick Van Dyke show. Ahead of The Simpsons even. Right there. Batman. Loved it as a young guy. Pretty corny and silly, but it was very entertaining. Let's see where. Just before Lucy. Good Times, another one. I really like that. I'm going to put it in A. Just before Batman. The Flintstones. Who doesn't love the Flintstones? Flintstones is S tier for a cartoon. Just before Star Trek. I hated Full House. My two sons, when they were younger, they were always watching it. Um, I'll put it in D, right at the start of D. And I think that's it, because have I got the Addams Family? Yeah. So that's it. That's my tier list for television shows. And let me know what TV shows that you love that is missing in this tier list. Just remember, I haven't seen every TV show, especially in recent years. I don't watch that much television. But yeah, Andy Griffith is my favorite TV show, followed by SCTV and The Office, Seinfeld, even though I need to watch more of it, and Fernwood Tonight, which was later called America Tonight. I'm pretty happy with this. Yeah. So my least favorite TV show that I've seen episodes of is Full House. So thanks for watching. Bye. Please remember to leave a comment below and like the video and subscribe.